When I was in prison in Arizona, 5,000 miles away from my family in England, my mom had a nervous breakdown. How hard was it for you to be away from your family like that?
You know, I bought a piece of property for about cash around 650,000, and then I put a road in, actually with Gotti's trucks from he had a paving company. So it cost me about his costs. So I paid about another 150,000. So it was 800. I built a house for my grandmother. I built it's only I redid a garage, made it a 4-car garage, and I made it like a 1-bedroom condo. I built another house in the back for my parents for a couple 100,000. This is in the 80s. I probably spent 1.5 million. I put an outdoor boxing ring there. I had professional fighters like David Reed there and Prince Badi, Bobby Ches, myself. We were all there training and fighting at a pavilion of weights. Had baseball cages out there, basketball, had all kinds of trikes, quads, bikes. I spent millions there. And I went through all this money and all this things, and I moved my whole family there. I moved my ex-wife with my kids. I moved my grandma. I moved my parents. I bought another house a mile away, not even a mile, half a mile away for myself. So I kept my family close knit. The biggest thing that destroyed this family, my family, is not me getting stabbed up, not me losing my money, but me abandoning my family because I knew I was going to either, if I stood around, I was going to get the death penalty or I was going to have to kill a lot of guys. And eventually I was going to get killed anyway. So I didn't have choices. So I came home to a family that's been dismantled. And this is what kids got to see. And I'm fighting over this for 8, 9, 10 years now. And that's another thing that Gotti does. He steps into my family life and he tries to get my brother. He tries to get my son. He tries to get my ex-wife. He's got no fucking set of morals as a man. And regardless what anybody says, I don't go near his children. I don't bring up his children. I don't bring up their personal lives. I know a lot about his father's brother that lives in California. I don't say anything. I leave it all alone because that has nothing to do with the mob. But you're such a spoiled little motherfucking brat that he can't be man enough with everything he does. And I can't be more verbal than I've been through this whole thing to say, yeah, you want to be a fucking gangster and you don't want to talk about yourself because you'll have that bullshit that I can get charged again. Let's talk about your father. Let's just speak about your father. Come sit with you and just speak about your father. Let's speak about him talking in rooms, if that and why. Let's talk about how he fucking blamed everything on Angelo Ruggiero. But if it was true what you said, why do you elevate him in position after Paul got killed? And then you fucking shelved him, and then you wouldn't bother with him, but yet he's the one that brought you to Neil Della Croce because Neil was his uncle. This is the thank you he gets, the same thing he did to Sammy. The same thank you he gave to a list of guys I said that died. The same thank you he did with his family because people talk, well, I have other kids with other families. Yeah, I do, but I take care of my responsibility. But your father don't. He didn't pay for his children. He leaves them in the street desolate. And that's on tape from his prison. And then his family, let's go with his family, the Gotti family. The father's bitching because they talk about him, they exploit his name, but they didn't visit him in prison. Nobody even went to go see the guy. So this is, John had a lot of good things about him, the father. He was fun to go out with. He'd laugh and this and that. He wasn't like Junior. Junior's just a miserable, insecure kid. But the father was fun to go out and party with. And yet, that family wants to exploit him. The kids don't even know him, the grandkids. They talk like he was, the language is ridiculous. But why didn't you visit him? Why didn't you send him anything? Why didn't your kids visit him? Why didn't you send some fucking letters? He's on tape complaining like crazy. My own family don't come see me. But now Junior also wants to blame his father for putting him in the life, but then you want to keep exploiting his money, keep selling his story. So which one is it, buddy? You want to be a fucking man and take it on? I'm not blaming my father for shit. My father, I love my father. He'll tell you he loves his father, but then he blames my father. Oh, poor me, my father put you in the life. And that's a lie. His father used to chase him away from this life. There's not a fucking thing that comes out of this guy's mouth that he's a man, and he's too stupid to see it. And he doesn't see that everybody else sees it.
So in Iceman the movie, he's got this parallel life. He's just, slipping in and out. Family life, hits, back to the family, hits. Did you feel your life was like that at some point?
Yeah, I mean, listen, you got a lot of things that you want. A lot of times you're cheating on your girl and your wife or whatever. You're bullshitting them. You tell them I got to do something. But then it's a lot of times realistically, you really got to do something. And they don't know the pressures on you because, it's a ton of pressure. Every time you go out of the house, you're moving, say, 50 keys. And another time you're going out, you're going to make a deal and then you're going to kill somebody. Another time you're worried about, is this guy an informant? I got to go see him. There's always something. And there's always so much stress, but the girls really don't understand what it is. And that's why I say a serious relationship is very hard to do. And at the same time, you're fucking around like crazy with different broads because there is a stress level and it is a release because you got to go out and have a good time and laugh, just like we did in prison with with Klaus and these guys. People will say, fuck, they were having a good time. They're out in the rain. In the cell, it rains in one section. We'd sit out there singing and drinking until we got drunk and fall asleep out there. But that's what keeps you existing, right? Because those fun little moments make you say, okay, it ain't that bad in here. And then the next day the torture does, so it was that bad in there. So, but that's part of, the existence of the street world, right? The ups and downs.
So when Pablo Escobar died, his son got on the radio and said, I'm going to rise up, avenge the death of my father. Then he got off the radio, he realized what he'd done, thought better of it. For your kids, do they look at you as something to avoid or something that they aspire to at some point in terms of the bad things that you did?
You got guys that talk about me in a good way, mostly actually in a good way. And then you got jerk-offs that talk in a bad way. And I tell my kids all the time, I don't want you saying shit for me. I don't need you to defend me. I don't want you near this life. They're in good shape, my kids. They box, they this, they work out. They're nice kids. They go to work. But I don't need them to be involved in this life. And I don't want to be, if anybody fucks with my kids, they're going to see an old side of me. And I tell my kids all the time, I don't want that. I don't want you involved, and I want you to feel bad. So stay out of this life. And if someone says anything about me, you say, my father's not hiding. He drives a convertible. He lives in New York. You want to see him, see him. But stop talking like cunts on TVs, on internets, and this and that. You got something to say, load a gun, go buy a box of bullets, and come see me. I says, but if you're going to talk about my kids ain't gangsters. I says, I was the gangster. And if you were that much of a gangster, you wouldn't be talking shit. I just abused this kid on the last time, this Frankie Giudice. The kid is Gotti's friend. His father stayed with Gotti's. His father died. He's a junk dealer. He never used a gun in his fucking life. He's another punk. When I beat his friend, he didn't help him back in, the early years, in the late 80s, early 90s. When I had to collect money for Johnny Koenig with the stunt, he's meeting in front of a fucking precinct. Then when I got to go see him and Gotti, they're on telephones. They won't come meet me. You're the same guy talking about what are you talking about my kids for? You got a kid too. So you're telling kids don't stay with my kid, this and that, because you're Gotti's friend? Because your son stays with Gotti's nephew who got 8 years for 3 different fucking felonies? Impossible. Direct sales to drugs. I don't know how many sales he had on tape, on video. He cops out to 8 years. Then he gets hit with another case for a bank robbery. Then he gets hit with another case for an arson, and they don't give him any more time. It's fucking impossible. So when guys are talking, and this kid's talking, only a punk does that. He's talking about my kids.
Yeah.
Well, fuck, my kids ain't gangsters. They're regular guys. They go to work.
They see what you're doing. They see that you're doing good.
Well, I want to say, like, what I want to say is, is you keep talking about my kids, I'll forget my past. And if I ever revert to the same thing, I'm not one of those guys. Anybody knows what I used to do. I kick doors in. I go right in your house. I don't got to wait nowhere.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that life. I'm finished with it. But any normal guy, girl, police officer, politician protects their kids and family.
Yeah.
Only a fucking coward talks about somebody's kids, about, any which way.
Family first with me every time. I'd kill for them. That's a fact.
Yeah.
I won't ask no questions.
Yeah. So, and it was easy for me, same thing with him. I could do what I want with him. I don't do it.
So kids watching this then, if you're tempted into the gangster lifestyle, imagine John kicking your door in. Imagine Peter kicking your door in. That's the door you're opening when you're getting into that lifestyle. Do you think that the takeover of drug gangs has ended the traditional mafia power?
You got so many different gangs. You got so many young kids. And the problem is with young age, they're aggressive. I used to tell guys that I was mad at when he said, why'd you send this guy? And I was saying, why'd you send kids? I said, don't call them kids. Because when you see young kids come for me, they didn't come to talk because they're not experienced enough to talk. They're only coming there to hurt you. I says, if you get a little bit out of line, they know what they're going to do. I says, but when I send somebody else that's a little older, he's coming for a conversation to let you know if those kids come next, you're going to have a problem. So the problem is with young kids, they don't know the consequences. And sometimes it's too late. I was telling a story the other day about a kid. It was a United States story, and a kid broke up with his girlfriend, and another kid was with the girl, and he was walking her home. And I think that kid was black, actually, was walking her home, but it wasn't a racist thing. It was just that he was with his girl. So he killed the kid, killed the black kid. So now that girl is, the boyfriend's going to jail for a very long time. That poor kid lost his life for nothing. And while he's in jail, she's going to be with somebody else anyway.
Oh, yeah.
I said, what do you think? She's a young, I don't know how old she is, but 17, 18, 19. She's normal. She's healthy. She's going to have sex with him. If I was the parents of the kid that died, I'd be sending pictures every day to that kid in jail. So here now, are you going to stop that?
Give it 6 months
Yeah,
before
but
he gets his day.
the problem is they're not, I don't think they're being taught properly at a younger age. I think it's getting lost somewhere. You know, that we need to take a little more responsibility for the younger kids.
Well, they have no respect, a lot of them, down. I mean, I can't just say London, I'd say everywhere too. But there's young kids nowadays that, I mean, they go in university and that, and they're walking home from university, and they're getting stabbed for the phone and killed for the phone.
Yeah.
For a £700 phone. I mean, I don't see the point in that.
No, I don't. I think they're losing a little bit of. I blame a lot on schools, not just parents, because they keep saying parents and parents. But the problem is the parents are at work. They're not home. Maybe they're from dysfunctional families. But the school's got to do a better job when they go to school from a young age, from 5, 6, 7. Instead of teaching them some dumb fucking class in phys ed, the kid wants to play ball, he's going to play ball. You don't need to teach him phys ed in school, but teach him something about life.
Well, do you need like a boxing or something to give?
Well, I say every kid that wants to be tough. My oldest son keeps having issues with me, and every family has problems. So you want to be a tough guy. My oldest son, same thing. Go in a gym, go fight, go sit in the gym every day and fight. If that's that's what you want to do, get in the gym. Same thing with any other kid, because I know some of my friends are tough fighters, tough. They're good with their hands, and some of them pro fighters. Some of them never became pro because they were on the street and they got in trouble. But the answer is the gym. If you're mad, go in the gym and fight. You'll get tired of fighting. But somebody's got to do something to help some of these kids to understand. I have a real good friend of mine that grew up was a murderer at a young age. He was a killer at a young age. I got to give him so much credit because he turned his life around. And I had his family was involved against me and whatever in killings. But he turned his personal life around and made his kids such good, successful kids. And that's like a prime example that we can do it if you really want to do it. So I got to give him, his name is Michael Stratton. And I got to tell you, I use him. He doesn't even know half the time I'm telling my family. This guy really did the right thing. Or Richie Langston, another kid that grew up with me. And Robert Angles, who I was talking about later. And these guys are all kicking back and helping kids and doing different things. Or Fat Andy's son, Anthony Ruggiano, he does things with kids and drug kids that got hooked up with drugs. And these guys got to be commended because it's easy to do nothing. It's easy to do what Gotti's doing with me, right? Just keep fucking, do something positive. Why don't you come talk with me with school?
Yeah.
Why don't you do something when I'm talking to these kids in school? Come with me. Why do you got to keep bullshitting everybody? Nobody's buying your story.
No one's interested. They know they can see right through his bullshit.
Yeah. Everybody see through his bullshit. You could save that for his little neighbor, the little 50 friends he's got.
Yeah.
But besides that, everybody knows you're full of shit. So why don't you do something with your kids?
I won't even say he's got 50.
Yeah.
He's paid for 10 of them.
Yeah, you pay. Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
What makes you think that kids listen to you? How do you measure that?
Because we have experience, just what all of us do. It doesn't have to be just with shooting and killing. It's experience of life, experience of selling drugs, experience of getting stabbed up, shot, experience of all the years in prison. And they know we're real deal. If they think you're fake, yeah. I always say the same thing. When I did some talks with chief of police or this one, you need a conjunction of people to reach kids. That means you could talk to that police officer, you could talk to that therapist, you could talk to me, and you talk to you guys. And in conjunction, we could save some kids' lives, right? You're not going to save them all because I wasn't ready for a long time. But we could save some of them. And by doing this, the guys were just talking to me, Owen, would just talk to me about doing something here with another guy that does, Andy, right? Andy. With a guy, Andy, and they want to do something with kids in inner city. I'm all for it because somebody's got to reach out. And I think a lot of problems, not just United States, UK, the ball players and movie stars and everybody else that got influence, they need to fucking help a little more and stop being selfish. And so, you got a lot of them are good.
It was worth it.
Yeah, but you got a lot of people that are such influence, ball players and movie stars. Fucking help some of these kids, man. Do the right thing. A lot of them do, but you need more of them to come out.
Yeah.